Hey everyone, let's start over. I'm Shantae Pitts, and I am the Learning and Development Specialist for STEM Education Works. If you're new here, welcome. Thank you for coming. If you're returning, it's so nice to have you back. I feel like I haven't been on for a minute, so it's really fun to be back in the office and getting to help run this, especially with today's guest. I happen to have known him for a little while now, and I very much enjoy spending some time with him and gleaning some knowledge. So thank you. And we're excited to bring Brad out here from Sphero, where he's going to talk to us about Blueprint, looking some of the new products he has to offer that are coming down the pipe, and also be able to just see some of the awesome things that Blueprint is doing. And when I tell you guys, it is amazing. He showed me some previews last night, and I'm telling you, I'm blown away by what he's been working on. So I'm very excited to let Brad take it away and explain to us all of the things that he's been working on and show you some really cool options to use Blueprint with. So without further ado, I'm passing it to Brad.
Hi, Shantae. Thank you for the awesome intro. I really appreciate it. Um, for everyone that might not know me, my name is Brad Fessler. I am the Professional Development Manager here at Sphero. To give you a little bit about my background, I was a high school tech and engineering teacher for 15 years and also taught in higher ed in an applied engineering, science, and technology department. So I'm no stranger to the classroom. I'm still a teacher here at Sphero. I just have a different class every single day, which is awesome. So it's just a lot of fun to get to work with you all and people all around the country and even around the world. So it's really, really an honor to be able to do that. So I have some cool stuff to share with us today. We're going to explore engineering in all grades using Sphero's Blueprint. So we have a whole line of products called Blueprint, and we are going to explore those today. So first, why STEM? What's important about it? Well, it gets us ready for the workforce. It's a set of tools that and a set of skills that we use every day in some way, right? So it could be something from construction. It could be electrical, right? It could just be designing other things, right? The engineering background that comes with it. So we're truly applying a lot of different skills with our students. So it is really important that students develop all these different skill sets to varying degrees depending on what they're hoping to do. Now, I was the T&E in STEM because I was technology and engineering educator, right? So of course I'm biased and think those are the most important parts, but science and math are still very, very important. I use them every day in all the things that I do, and I'll share some of that with you in this presentation as well. So when we're talking about STEM in the classroom, there's some challenges that we have for our students. Uh, a lot of times, students get started in these fields way too late. They're already at a point where like there's some expected knowledge there, and the students just didn't have experiences there, and it's really tough to get those students caught up, right? So we really with the Blueprint product focused on getting the product set up in a way that's not intimidating, that students aren't scared when they see the word engineering. We want this to be very accessible to a lot of students. And then, of course, our diversity of students with all their different skill sets and backgrounds and what they've had exposure to and what they can relate to in real life. That can be a challenge because it's so wide. And when we're talking about the different STEM skills, there's a lot of skills out there, right? So it's a lot of different topics and a lot of different um, experiences from students. So we really want to recognize that and try to, in our lessons when we're teaching things, relate that the content to something that the students have previous experience with. And of course, a lot of products are just intimidating, right? Like they're using big technical words and there's lots of parts and there's like little things that they got to put together and they have to know some things just to get started, right? So Again, we really tried with Blueprint to eliminate those barriers right off the start for it. And then, of course, there's just a lot of skills, like I mentioned before, and we have to kind of stack some of those skills on top of each other to really be able to do some things, right? So there's some really cool products out there in the market, but are kind of difficult to use, right? And we don't want to ever have our students shut down because something's difficult to use because they ran into that challenge. So we want to just make sure that we're not losing them because of those things, right? So, so how do we do that? So how do we progress through these STEM lessons and opportunities to learn things here? Well, we first start by playing. And I know sometimes we hear that word play and we're like, ooh, we can't say that in the classroom. We don't play. We're here to learn, right? And I've heard that from administrators before. But the reality is, how you best learn about something is to sit down and play with it. I've literally made a career out of that by sitting down and playing with something, figuring it out, and then, okay, what are the things that I want to teach with this thing? Right. So sitting down and playing with it, and I have a coworker, her name's Jess, and I think she has the best quote for this is it's a toy before it's a tool in the classroom. You have to sit down and play with it a little bit, get that fun stuff out of the way, and now we can get down to business and really use that for what it's designed for. And of course, since we're playing around a little bit, we're going to have some fun, right? So we'll do some fun things. Our lessons are designed to be fun across the board when it comes to Sphero. We teach some crazy concepts sometimes, like that are really in the weeds and technical and things like that, but we still want to do it in a very fun way. So that's an important part to this process. And because we're having fun and playing around with some things, we start to inspire some curiosity about how does this thing really work, right? So if you're familiar with our elementary robot called Indy, it uses a color sensor and it drives by reading color tiles to go different directions and takes commands. You actually never need to use a programming device to program this thing. You're doing everything with these color tiles, right? So as students kind of play around with this, they're like, well, how does it work? Right? Maybe not at the elementary level, but as students kind of get older, they're looking at like, well, how does this thing really work? But being able to dive into what's under the hood and how it works is really important. That's why most of our robots are clear and you can see the inside of what's in there, all the circuits that are in there, the motors, the things that really make those tick. And then as we're getting curious about things and kind of exploring that, we start to learn a lot of different skills. And this can be different for every student. They're going to learn different things, they're going to explore different parts, they're going to go down different paths. And us as educators need to just support that, right? Not every student needs to learn the exact same thing when they explore a product or a concept, right? There are key things, of course, key takeaways that we want our students to walk away with in those things. And yes, we want to make sure we get those in there. But if they go down a different path and find other things that other students didn't, that's okay. And we want to nurture that a little bit and let them learn those varied skills. Then, of course, that's when the challenges come in. This is where we start providing some unique challenges for the students to then take those skills and apply them, which is the last part of this, is taking that knowledge, those things they've learned because they were having fun and playing around and curious about something, and then taking that knowledge and applying it to solve some real world problems. And Blueprint is set up in a way to do exactly that. Scaffold this process for the students to kind of up those levels, but start at a very basic and non-intimidating way. So why use Sphero? So there's lots of other building sets out there. They all have some really cool merits to them, and they all have some drawbacks to them, right? So one of the things that we think we do that's above everyone else here is writing our content. And when we write our content, we're thinking about what it is that we want to teach, and we're working towards that goal. And we actually start that process before we ever develop a product. There's no physical hardware without the concept of what are we teaching. We are a content first company, so we start with what is the thing we need to teach, and then let's figure out what those lessons might look like. Okay, what kind of product do we need to do this and do it well in a fun way? So we build in that accessibility right off the bat for our students, right? We also standard align for national standards inside of our curriculum. So we'll talk about that in more detail, how that relates to Blueprint in just a few minutes. And of course, you know, the T&E of STEM are great, but there's also some other things that we need to teach along the way, so that science and math come into play, and even some other things. We have a lesson that's based on the Egyptian pyramids, right? And like theorizing how this works, right? So checking some things out. So really pretty cool. So as far as product offerings go, we have something that starts at pre-K and we go all the way through high school here. So we have Indie, we have our Mini, those are our younger levels, and then we go into Little Bits, and then of course our round flagship robot Bolt Plus, and then into Rover, and of course Blueprint Snap, and then Blueprint and Blueprint Engineering. We are going to focus on this part. This takes us from third grade all the way through high school. With these three products, we're really focused on the top two, but the third one is kind of I'll say an accessory for Blueprint, if you will. So let's start at the lower level. And Blueprint Snap is our latest product. It is brand new. Matter of fact, it is only available for pre-order right now. It is not yet shipping, but Blueprint Snap is a bunch of parts, plastic parts that all snap together to build out some really cool things. So I'll let you see this little teaser video here for just a second, and then we'll talk about a little more. Awesome. So if you're not familiar with the Blueprint product line at all, it is a truss-based system. So they're square rectangular trusses. And those connectors, in this case, they're yellow connectors for snap, just literally snap into those trusses and allow you to build very, very quickly. That is one of the advantages of the Blueprint system, whether it's Blueprint Snap or Blueprint Engineering. They allow you to build very quickly and do some really cool things in a class period. Most of our lessons are designed to happen in one 45-minute class period. So that means do the building, do the learning that's associated with that building, and then tear it back apart in that 45 minutes of time. So most of our lessons allow for that to happen. So what are some of the things we're trying to teach with Blueprint Snap? Well, the engineering fundamentals at a grade appropriate level. So we're looking at grades 3 through 5. It extends up into 6 a little bit here. But we're trying to get students to explore things like the structure of something. So building a tower, building a castle, those kinds of things. How do we get things in motion? So we have all kinds of parts that are in here. We have some hinges. We have turntables that allow things to spin. There's axle shafts that are in there. There's gears. There's pulleys. There's ropes. There's linear slides, so we can actually get things to move in a linear motion. And of course, we want it to be fun. So they're in these fun colors. But that's not just to be fun. That also allows students to easily differentiate different parts when they're looking at a build. So a 2-pitch truss is a different color than a 3-pitch truss because we don't want students to confuse those two parts. We're encouraging students to exercise some design thinking here. Those of you that might be familiar with Blueprint Engineering know that we use the engineering design process. At the lower levels, we're using some design thinking. And we have our students working through those concepts to build prototypes, to kind of explore what they can build with those concepts with some like small constraints in there, to make that work really well and be fun for them. We have tons of free resources for Snap out there. When it's launched officially, they will be out in Sphero Central, and we'll talk about Sphero Central and get a quick tour of that in a little bit. But there'll be challenge cards, there's units, there's lessons within those units, and then of course we have some cross-curricular activities, and all of these are aligned to national standards. So they're aligned to the STEL and NGSS standards. Cool part with Snap is no screens, no batteries, nothing complicated, no tiny little nuts and bolts and washers to lose, or for little fingers that like really struggle to handle those kinds of things. Everything is designed to be grade level friendly for our students. You'll notice that in the bottom left-hand corner, we are not yet shipping this. It is available for pre-order here, and it will deliver in late fall. So this is what the kit looks like. It comes in these nice little bins. If you're familiar with Blueprint Engineering, this is the younger version of that. It uses the same kind of bin. Tons of parts. It comes with 288 parts in each bin. One bin is designed for 1 to 2 students at a time. We do sell them in class packs where there's like 8 kits to a class pack, so 8 of those bins that would support up to 16 students. Then we have a 16 bin class pack to support up to 32 students at a time. Nice part is inside there's trays to organize everything, so the smaller parts don't get lost in the bigger parts, kind of thing. So it keeps it really organized and nice to work with. So here's a sneak peek of some of our lessons. So things like a bad bridge, where you're improving on a bridge design to make it stronger, more stable, so it can hold some weight, right? Things like toppling towers, where we're experimenting with gravity and stability. And then, of course, building a castle and then creating a feature to protect it. So maybe like a drawbridge over the moat kind of thing, and see what you can come up with. So let's take a look real quick at what a lesson guide would look like for our students. So when we look at this, we publish our lessons in a Google format. So this is a Google Doc. The cool part about that is if you don't like something that we put in there, or you want to put your own spin on it, no problem. You can hit the make your own copy, and it'll copy it over as a Google Doc, dump it right in your Google Drive for you. And of course, you can download it as a PDF or a Microsoft Word doc as well. So you get an overview, you get some objectives, right? You get a grade level here, the duration of that lesson, the materials you might need. This is the start of your lesson plan. So we have that key vocabulary, the prep, and any kind of possible extension that's in here. Now we know not everyone's going to be a tech and engineering teacher, so we write these in a way that's friendly for all teachers. So if there's a concept in here that isn't necessarily common knowledge, we're going to put that in this guide to really help get those students or get that teacher prepared to deliver this to their students. So we can see right here, just in this first lesson, we're getting some measurements in here. So each pitch of the blueprint system, whether it's Blueprint Snap or Blueprint Engineering, is 25 millimeter. So this is a 5-pitch truss, 5 of those squares, right? So it's 125 millimeters long. And then we can see what these designs look like. So we give examples. This is an example of a bridge. What might this thing look like? How can we make it stronger, right? Here's another example, right? And we build these things as 3D models, which I'll actually show you that as well, in CAD. So you can get the whole kind of experience digitally, and then the most important way for students is hands-on. So it's really pretty cool to be able to do that. So that's a preview of some of the lessons. There's a lot more lessons coming very, very soon. So all of that will be published once we start shipping the actual hardware. So that's Blueprint Snap. Like I said, that is our newest product offering and we'll be shipping this fall. Then we have Blueprint Engineering. So Blueprint is just a whole product line, and Blueprint Engineering is a kit that includes not only physical parts, but it also has some hardware, some electronic hardware with it as well. So parts that have electronics and parts that don't have electronics. So here we go. I'll let us play that video full screen. So go ahead, let's launch that video. I know that's a lot to unpack in a very short amount of time, but there's a lot of really cool things you can do. So you got some sneak peeks of lessons that are in there, as well as getting to see kids actually work with this stuff hands-on. And we'll talk about the 3D printing aspect and the CAD aspect of this as well. So every blueprint lesson, whether it's blueprint build or blueprint engineering, engineering includes the electronics. The regular blueprint build only has physical parts, not necessarily the electronics that go with it. With this, we have a couple different resources. Every lesson comes with a teacher guide, similar to what we saw for Blueprint Snap. We also have lesson slides, so you don't need to reinvent anything here to be able to present the concept that goes with the lesson. It is all right inside of those lesson slides for you. Again, in a Google format, so it's Google Slides. You can make a copy, you can edit, you can do some really cool stuff after the fact if you want. And then, of course, we have a student handout that goes with it. This is where the students do their experiments with their build, write down their information, kind of reflect on what was happening in that lesson and do those kinds of things, all in that student handout. Again, in a Google Doc format, so you can edit if you choose. And then we have build instructions, and build instructions are really, really cool because they are actual 3D models that we pull apart. So someone on our team actually builds these things in CAD, and then we pull it apart piece by piece, and you get to see the slides having build this thing up piece by piece, which is really, really pretty cool. So in this video, on this slide here, I'll let you play this one full screen as well, but these are our build instructions. We have a parts list, and then we can see step by step how all these things go. And since they're 3D models, you can zoom in, you can pan around it, so you can kind of click and drag and see some really, really cool stuff as you're building this out. There we go. So what does this look like with students in the classroom? Here's some cool things that we've seen on social media that people have been doing. Here they built things for monster trucks, right? Which are really pretty cool to do some different things, and monorails in there. And then of course the civil engineering side of things, where they built a crane and things like that. We actually had a competition that launched this past year in the UK, and that was really cool that we worked with the Lift Equipment Engineers Association, and they did using blueprint engineering kits. They did this competition where students came in, they learned how to use blueprint, and then competed to build a tower crane to move different size payloads across a scale model of a job site. So it was really, really cool, some of the stuff that they did in that short amount of time. And that actual competition that they're doing in the UK is getting scaled up for this following school year. So really pretty fun things that are happening. Now, I know I said this was all about blueprint, but we have an accessory that goes with Blueprint. Um, I call it an accessory because we're focused on Blueprint. Some people look at Blueprint as the accessory to RVR Plus. However you look at it, these two systems work together with each other. So RVR Plus is a programmable robot. So if you're familiar with any of our other programmable robots, as far as Bolt or Bolt Plus or Mini, it programs the exact same way. Obviously, it looks very different from our other round robots. It's a tank tread style driven vehicle. So it actually tracks super accurately. And we even have a roll to distance block, just like Bolt Plus. So it allows you to roll for a particular distance. And we just recently launched some of the new uh, code blocks with RVR Plus, where you have software buttons that you can program custom features now. You can manually drive your RVR Plus while running a program, which all of these things are really awesome to be able to open up a ton of potential challenge and lesson concepts here. But for Blueprint, we have this clear topper that snaps on there, and it allows you a ton of different spaces to actually build with Blueprint right on top of RVR Plus. So here we see something very basic with a couple trusses snapped to it and a linear slide and a support plate in there. But you can build some really, really crazy, awesome builds on top of this thing. Here we'll see one, this animation up in the top right corner. This is a lesson called Capture the Ball. And we're manually driving the RVR Plus here, and the Blueprint electronics are detecting the ball and then moving the motors to capture that ball and then driving it to the goal. And the goal then moves that sensor to release the ball. And then this turns into a really fun in-class competition. The students have to build this thing by snapping pieces together, but the cool part is they can build it and then compete with it. So then they can modify things, they can find ways to make improvements, make changes to it, to do some really cool things. On the bottom left side here, we have a winch. And this is actually using the power of RVR Plus's motors and tank treads to drive the mechanical mechanism to operate a winch. So that front truss at the bottom front there of RVR Plus would wrap up a rope to be able to lift some really pretty impressively heavy weights. When I was experimenting with this thing, I actually had to clamp my RVR down to my dining room table because I was lifting weights that were way heavier than RVR, and it wanted to flip it over and pull it off my table. That's how powerful this thing can actually be with the right set of gears and things in there. So some really fun things that you can do. Not only do we offer that topper plate, but there's other topper plates that go with RVR as well to build other things on top of it, because RVR Plus allows you to plug in other accessories like microbits and little bits, Raspberry Pis. So you can like start very basic with RVR Plus and you can go way, way complex. But really, really fun thing to work with. Then we have our CAD lessons. So we generally, our lessons are with Onshape. So if you've ever heard of Onshape, Onshape is a professional CAD software. It runs in a web browser. So the cool part is you don't have to have a fancy gaming computer or crazy GPU hardware to run this thing. It runs right in Google Chrome amazingly. I run it on my MacBook. I also run it, the mobile version on my iPad. But when I was in the classroom, we used bottom of the barrel Chromebooks. Pick the cheapest Chromebook you can find that you probably shouldn't put in students' hands, and that's what we had in there, and that's what we ran our Onshape accounts from, and students had no issues doing that. So hats off to Onshape for that. They are not part of Sphero, but we do utilize their software for teaching some CAD things. So We have all of our blueprint parts in an Onshape document. So students make a copy of our document right inside of Onshape. And then we have lessons that teach how to create assemblies, and we have lessons that are on their way on how to create some modeling and make some custom pieces for it. So all of our parts are right inside of there. So you can build things out. The animation on the right hand side is lesson 3. It's called sub-assemblies and animations. And students are bringing all of these pieces together to build this desktop spinner. The cool part is this is also a lesson that students can build outside of CAD with the real pieces. So it's a whole new way to teach some CAD concepts. So if you're trying to learn CAD, sometimes things can be very abstract, and you struggle to kind of like, how does this actually go together? And you're in a 3D space, like figuring these things out. You can grab your blueprint kit, get it out, and build it in real life. And that can really help you understand some of the spatial reasoning things that some people will struggle with. Some students will struggle with those things. That can really help them when they get into the CAD part of things. We also have a 3D printable starter part, and that is set up in a way that all of the difficult things are created for you, and it gives you a flat surface that you then model your custom piece off of. We don't want to be in the business of creating all these like crazy custom one-off pieces. We want to empower our students to be able to design those and then 3D print them. So with that, we have 2 resources for them. We have a CAD guide that talks about how to use CAD with Blueprint. We talk about using Onshape or SolidWorks or other CAD software. We do provide other file types besides just what is inside of Onshape. We do provide the SolidWorks files, and we do provide what's called the step file, which is in the CAD world is kind of like a PDF, right? You can bring that document into almost any CAD software and have the 3D model and be ready to use it. And then we also have our 3D printing guide, and this is where we talk about, best practices for 3D printing and being able to use these parts from that 3D printable starter part with your actual blueprint kit. The cool part is it was actually in the teaser video. We had that little gantry crane that was in there. There was a green hook hanging from the gantry crane, and that green hook was actually 3D printed from the 3D printable starter part. It was designed from that, 3D printed and snapped on there, and it was actually lifting real things because it snaps right onto the system. So we're giving you everything you need to really customize this to do all the cool things that you might want to do. So CAD lessons are there. There's 3 of them in there now, all based on assemblies, and there's more coming on modeling soon. So keep checking back for those. They're also in Sphero Central. So speaking of Sphero Central is our one-stop shop for all content Sphero related. I say one-stop shop, but the cool part is it's like shopping with 100% discount code because we don't charge for any content. You can go in there, you can find content for all of our different products are in there. So it doesn't matter if you have one of our programmable robots, Blueprint, Indie, Little Bits, all the content's in one place. You can search for lessons, you can filter things by the grade or the robot. You can find all kinds of other additional resources in there for those products. You can even assign lessons to classes and manage your classes right inside of Sphero Central if you're using the Sphero EDU app. So let's take a look at Sphero Central. So Sphero Central is edu.sphero.com. So if you're trying to check this out, it's in the chat as well. You can click on that link. And it is designed to be product centric. So what that means is you pick the product that you're working with. So since we're talking about Blueprint today, you can come down here and click on the cool Blueprint logo, or there's a drop down menu up here if you'd rather do that, and it will take you there. There's some getting started things that are in here, so you can kind of cycle through here. There's challenge cards, there's lessons, there's resources. There's this other resource in here called the Blueprintopedia. And what's really cool about the Blueprintopedia is all of the parts that are in the blueprint system are in here. So if you're ever looking at a part and like, what is this thing? And what am I supposed to do with it, right? So the catapult end effector, right? People look at this thing and they're like, what? What is this thing? I don't know what this part does. You can click on it. You can read all about the part here. And you can even see instances of like where it's used. Hey, this is actually from CAD, right? And you can see builds that actually utilize this thing. So this thing is like a gripper claw that you can use by pushing a button and it clamps down. You can pick things up, right? So there's all kinds of really cool things. There's always explanations of those things in here. One of the things that's really cool is we have our motor bit. Our motor bit is both a continuous rotation motor and a servo motor all in one. And the cool part about that is you can just click on the button to cycle through, and these LED lights that are on here will change, and it'll cycle through all those modes. So you can have things like this is velocity mode or continuous rotation clockwise, but you can do counterclockwise. And then you can do what we call position mode or servo mode clockwise and counterclockwise. So you can really dive into what these things do and how they work right in the Blueprintopedia. So definitely pretty cool. We also have other resources that are in here. So we have the educator guide, we have challenge cards. I mentioned the 3D printer guide and the CAD guide earlier. That's where you'll find these. There's a video library on how to use some of the bits. And then when you go further down, we have other things like a summer camp guide. If you're leading your own PD, we have a starter deck to help you do that. Looking for like, where are all my missing pieces and what belongs in this kit because somebody dumped two kits together? No problem. We give you all those contents in here. And of course, this is where you'll find your Onshape document, SolidWorks files, STL files, step files. They're all in here for you. And then we do have some 3D printed blueprint accessories. This takes you out to Thingiverse, and you can check out all of our 3D printable accessories. Again, they're free. You can jump in there and check things out. But where things really get interesting is we have some crazy builds that happen. Maybe if they load. There we go. Thank you. We have some crazy builds that happen. So whether it's our engineers or our content people, or we've even had customers build things and send them in to us like, hey, check this out. This is something I built, and it's really, really cool. So we have some really cool things that you can explore in here. Like this is a pottery wheel that has an electric clutch to it. So it's using multiple motors to one to spin the flywheel, and then another one to move that flywheel in place to spin the actual plate that you would use to hold the pottery. We have a Cartesian table. So think CNC machine or a 3D printer, or if you want to think very basic, like an Etch-a-Sketch, right? Doing those kinds of things. That XY axis, trying to move things around. This is actually a lesson that we do using manual controls where we're not using electronics. This is one where we have the electronics in. Different kinds of steering systems, a cool little mechanical build for a motorcycle. And then, of course, we have our farm build. And the farm build, if you've ever been to one of our booth at any kind of big conference in the last year or so, you might have seen this thing in person. The scale of this thing is huge. It took 3 full blueprint engineering kits to build this stuff, and it includes 3D printed parts and all kinds of other things. We actually, right inside of this, there's a slide presentation that gives you all the specs on it, like how many parts are in it and how much it weighs and all those really cool things, and even take you out to the Onshape document of the actual 3D CAD model of it. But you can see this thing is like, it's massive, it's huge. So the real big part for this, for us, are our lessons. And we have lesson collections in here. And collections are just that. They're a collection of lessons on a basic, on this same topic. So we have simple machines. 14 lessons on simple machines. We have a carnival build unit, which takes the concepts that are learned in simple machines and expands on them in a really, really fun way. Then we go into the engineering kit where we have control systems and then machines in our food system. And of course, challenge cards, those CAD lessons we talked about. I just launched this week was our art and design collection. So some really cool, fun builds that are in here. I mentioned that pottery wheel earlier. That's in here. There's a theater curtain, and of course that drawing with the Cartesian table. So some really cool lessons that are in here. And um, we do have some lessons from time to time that are not in a collection. I think all of our lessons are in a collection right now. But if you jump over here to the lessons, sometimes we launch lessons periodically and they're not yet in a collection. So you can find all the individual lessons or browse all of them at one shot right here. And of course, you can filter by kit. All of these things work the same way for all of the different products. You can dive through this and really check out all of the really cool resources we have in Sphero Central. One last thing to talk about here today is the Sphero Global Challenge. This is our online competition. The Sphero Global Challenge, you never have to go anywhere if you don't want to. You can do everything online. We start with Indy for early elementary. We have Bolt or Bolt Plus for late elementary. And then middle school, we have Rover, right? So we have some really cool competitions that happen throughout there. And the link is in the chat if you want to learn more about the Sphero Global Challenge. It's there. This animation is showing a team that was practicing for last year's competition where they're collecting cups and moving them into an area. Notice they're using Rover or RVR Plus in this case, right? And they built on top of it using Blueprint, and they were programming it to go collect those cups and move them into the end location. Also, we have the two smaller images there. That the one on the left is what this build is. The one on the right, this thing was huge. I actually got to see this in person actually function at the Sphero Global Challenge. We have, I said it was a virtual competition, but we also do have some on-site competitions spread around the country. This particular competition was in Miami, Florida, and the awesome folks at Miami-Dade invited us down to actually watch their competition happen in person. So I got to actually see this large build, and the whole thing was designed that it would stop very quickly, then it would tilt forward and it would dump a bunch of ping pong balls, which were representative of them delivering things into the city, and it would dump them out into the city. It was really, really cool. So teams learn a lot of skills. Of course, the team building aspect of it is huge. Learning how to code and engineer and problem solve these things is a lot of fun. It's definitely one of my favorite times of year when we get to actually see what the students were working on and get to grade and judge these things. So it's just a lot of fun. So check out Sphero Global Challenge. Like I said, Indy, Bolt, or Bolt Plus, and RVR Plus are all included in that. So with that being said, I haven't seen any questions in the comments yet, but if anything comes up, please throw them in the comments here. My contact information is there, so if you do have questions about something content or PD related, please do send them my way. I don't do sales, but I'll gladly put you through to the correct person if you're interested on that part. But I'm glad to be able to share some of these things with you today. And thank you, Shantae, for having me here. I appreciate it.
Brad, as always, it's always such a pleasure to do this with you. And I always learn something new every time. Nonetheless, is there any questions from anyone in the crowd for Brad while we have his full attention? Because I can tell you right now, we talked about this previously, he and I did, and just like looking at what he's doing. And I think as a previous teacher, I think what really matters to me that I feel like you guys do so well, specifically you, is that you listen to the teachers and you hear us when we're speaking as a previous teacher and say, this is what we need. This is what the schools are asking for. This is what the teachers are asking for. And you are a voice that helps provide that. And I really do truly know how much that means to educators. And I know you know that as an educator yourself, but I love that. And I appreciate that. And nobody does it as well as you do. I'm going to say it. I'd love to do one day. That's all.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, that is our goal at Sphero, is to make tools that just work in the classroom.
Yeah.
We want to be able to, we're mission driven, and that mission is to teach students some skills in this field, and we want to make the best products we possibly can to do that for our students.
Just providing for the teachers that support, so they're not feeling flying on their own, but also giving something the kids are interested in. And that's the most important thing out there, fun and easy to use. Those are the two things.
Absolutely.
Any questions from anyone? Thank you guys so much for coming and joining us today. Obviously, we're going to share out this recording. I have an amazing team that works behind the scenes, so it's not me. So when you see these videos, I would love to take credit for it, but they're always so well done and put together. We have an amazing marketing team that's always got my back and deals with all of the chaos sometimes that I provide. But they will get sent to you. We'll send you certificates for coming, so know that comes as well. But any questions for Brad? Come at us. It's your chance. Everyone's obviously loving it. It's a lot of fun to learn more about what you've got coming and also what you've been working on. And just the seamlessness that you guys provide is, again, it's really amazing.
I'm definitely excited for the additions to the Blueprint line, and we're not done. There's more coming. I can't quite talk about those yet, but there is more. We have engineers furiously working on some things for that. So we have some really cool stuff there happening. Great question about what is the recommended age for Blueprint. Now I'm going to throw this graphic back up here so we can see that for you as well. So Blueprint engineering starts at grades 5, 6, and work our way all the way up into high school. So that's where I would recommend Blueprint engineering. As far as getting started in our schools for this, one, you can reach out. If you don't have any product, please reach out to our sales team or me, and I can get you in touch with the right person for your particular area. And we can get you some samples out there, things like that, to check out our content. That's the first and foremost thing that you can do, is get on edu.sphero.com and start digging into that content, because that's where you're really going to find things like, is this the right product for me and my students? But check out that content. It's all free. You don't have to log into anything. I was showing it to you today from an account that is not even logged in. I just went to the webpage, so you can check that out. As far as how do we talk to the sales team, if you go to Sphero.com, there's a link on the webpage, and you can go right into there, or you can send an email to sales@Sphero.com, and that will get you there as well.
Perfect. Also, we are partners with them, which is why he's here. So if you do have questions, you also can reach out to us. We can get you in the right place as well. And I think somebody from my team is going to put something in the chat as well for an email address. That's another resource that you can reach out to. I work closely with Brad. We can direct you, whatever that looks like as well. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Hold on, Alicia. I'm going to grab that email address for you too. We'll send that in there.
Perfect. Great question about the cost of our kit.
Great question.
Yeah, so I am going to pull up, give me 1 second, Sphero.com. Remember, I said I don't do sales. This is proof.
That's right. That's exactly what I tell people. That's one thing I don't have in my head right now.
This is right here. So if we're looking at Blueprint engineering, let me see if I can maybe make this a little more virtual friendly. Here we go. So we can see a single kit for blueprint engineering is $449, and we have class packs of 10 and 15 here. We even go up, we have the individual build kit where it's just the mechanical pieces, no electronics. They start at $199, and again, we have 10 kits and 15 kits there as well for that. And then, of course, you can buy accessories as well. So say you need extras of certain pieces, you can buy them. You can buy all the individual pieces in packs as well. And then we do have Blueprint Snap as well. Blueprint Snap individual kit starts at $179, and 8 kit class pack is $1449, and then 16 kit as well.
Perfection. And then someone else asked about the area they would need for the RVR Global Challenge. What kind of space would they might need?
Oh yeah, great question. So we actually just launched. I actually don't know if it's on our website yet. Let me look. Nope, it doesn't look like it is there yet. Maybe. Nope. We are. Oh yes, it is. RVR plus code mat. So let me show you this. So this is our RVR plus code mat, and you don't have to have this to do our challenges, but this is a mat that helps. It gives that grid for you, and this is our dimensions. So 2.4 meters by 1.6 meters. Sorry, we're engineers. We all work on the metric system. But it takes up a good amount of space because RVR Plus is a decent size robot. So just to kind of give you an idea, visually here, I can show you what this thing looks like. So this is what RVR looks like with nothing built on top of it. It's right here for you and good to go. So that mat is helpful, but like I said, not necessary to have the mat to compete.
Perfect. Also, if you're looking for grants for helping you get funding, our team tries to work hard on keeping that updated for you, but I just put that in the chat as well. A link to a page where you can get information on some grants that are out there. We try to keep our page updated so you guys have a place to go and look at grants that are aligned with some of this stuff, so that hopefully help you alleviate some of that stress of looking for funding. We try to keep that updated, like I said, as much as we can. And then my sales team also put their email address in there as well. So if you guys have questions or anything that you need help with, please reach out to our team as well. Together, we'll get you where you need to be. And if we need to transfer you to Brad, we'll get you to Brad, or ask him who we need to transfer you to. If you have questions that we can't answer, let us know.
Yep, it's a true team effort here.
It is. It is. It's a fun way to live. I will tell you, makes my life a lot easier. Any other questions? Those are great questions. Honestly, I appreciate them, and it helps bring light to the things that we need to remember on this. Especially, there's a lot of the same questions like, hey, where do I go? How do I find it? How much does it cost? So yeah, any way that we can help you, Brad, my team, his team, we're here to help you hopefully find a way to make this work for you in your classroom and what that looks like. And I will tell you, I say this to, if you've ever had me train you or work with you, I say this all the time, but if you are struggling with a lesson that you can't seem to get to work for you in your classroom, and we all have those ones that are like, this is not working. I've tried this year. I try it this next year. I always say, take that lesson and email it to one of us and say, this is what I can't get to work, because we love to help you out with figuring out a way to make a lesson that you're just not getting. It's just not going. Because I'm like, sometimes we have really good lessons that just flow and we don't want to mess the flow, but we also have that opposite side. And that's where this stuff comes in to kind of help reiterate things for you. So you're not just spinning and trying to figure it out. Like, don't do it alone. We will help you. We want to help you. It's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
Anything else from anyone? Questions, anything? Like I said, please reach out for anything that you need help with. We are going to be doing another webinar next month too. We have one next week also, a short one, which we're going to promote in a second so you can see that. He's going for it because he knew I went for it. We are going to talk about MakerBot 3D printing. They have a new platform that they have released that is getting ready to be launched and is only way that you're able to slice and prep things that you are making for your MakerBots. And they're getting rid of cloud print. So I thought it was imperative that I share this with you guys. So if you have MakerBots, just know this change is coming, and the other website you might have been using might be completely gone. So please sign up if you want help with that, or if you have questions about it. Even if you can't attend, we will be recording this one as well. So hopefully you'll be able to get that help that you need before it goes away. I'm trying to get ahead of it this time and try to keep you updated when we can. So that, and then we obviously will have one next month. Jake's going to be running that, and he's going to be coming at you with some fun facts, I'm sure, because Jake is always full of them. So be looking out for that email as well. Anything else for Brad? It looks like everybody is thanking you, which is exactly what we want to hear.
Well, thank you all for coming and joining us tonight. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for giving up some of your time. I know you don't have a lot of it. So all of you, whether it's Brad or any of you educators in the chat or people in this chat, I know for a fact time is really crazy right now. So thank you for giving your time to us. We acknowledge it and appreciate it. And hopefully you'll come back. Hopefully this is fun, or if you have questions or you want to look at more stuff that you can use for a classroom, you know where to go now. But thank you, Brad. Appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, Shantae. I appreciate it. It's always fun working with you and the team.
Always fun. Yep, we appreciate you. Awesome. Okay, well, until next time, you guys, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you hopefully next week. Bye, Brad. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.